Hey, it's Bruce from Awesome Arcades. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you attach the control panel to this. This is a Typhoon Arcade. So we just unwrapped this. The first thing you're going to notice is there are two keys. Using those keys, if you open this door right here, inside, you're going to find your power cord. The plug-in is down here. There's also an on-off switch. Now, because of the location of the on-off switch, most people are going to have this cabinet sitting back against a wall. Normally what I do, and I think you should do this with any consumer electronics, like a computer, you should plug it into a power strip. Power strip has a surge protector. That way the power strip can sit alongside the Typhoon and you can turn it on and off more easily. So on the front of the cabinet, you're going to notice there's a door using the same key. So there's one key for everything. You get two keys, but it's the same key, so one is just a backup. So you're going to open this. Inside, this is where you're going to access the JAMA harness. And I cover this more extensively in other videos. I also have a specific setup video that'll guide you through how to set up the board. But inside, you're going to find this. I'm going to show you that over here so you can see it better. This is what it looks like. And so the one inside there is blue. This one is black. On this harness, there's a bundle of wires. These are your power wires. Now, when you look at your board, this is the Pandora DX. You're going to notice that there's a bunch of teeth, a notch, and then some other teeth, or fingers is what we call them. You want to take these three power wires, that's why it's marked. So you're going to notice on your harness is blue, but it'll be marked black. We just hit it with a Sharpie right there. These three wires are going to match up with these three fingers. This is the male part, this is the female part. So in order to plug your board in, you're simply going to take that. Okay, and you're going to push that down on that. So that's how you plug the board in. In addition, there's going to be, if you bought the Trackball, there's going to be a USB cable laying inside. I'll show you more about that in a second. That plugs into this. Make sure that you have the machine powered off when you plug in the Trackball. If you plug in the Trackball while the machine is powered on, it just won't read it. So you just have to turn it off, turn it back on, and then it'll recognize that a Trackball has been set up or plugged in. In addition, that's your setup button. I'll show you more about that in a second. Or there's a better video where I show you how to set the board up. I'm not going to cover that in this video just for time purposes. But that is the setup button. The last thing you've got is your Vga cable. That's where your monitor cable plugs in. Okay? All that is located down inside the cabinet there. So you're going to need a 1/2-inch socket or an open-ended wrench. And I have this extender that I like to use. You're going to need something like that. And I'll show you more about that, why, and I'll show you more about that or why you need that in a second. All right, tongue-tied here. Here we go. So first thing you're going to notice is that you've got these 4 bolts. Okay, so you're going to need to remove those in no particular order. So we're just going to set these down here. These ones you can just loosen because this is open-ended right here, so this will just slide up. So I'll show you that. All right, socket stuck there. Okay, another thing I want to show you is there's your keyhole, okay? Where did I just set that? Now, when you go to put the key in, if you go to push the key in and it doesn't just push all the way in, like this, there are little tumblers inside there, and they're at all different odd angles. Those tumblers need to all be aligned for you to be able to open the lock. And so if you push the key in and it doesn't go all the way in, I just want you to kind of wiggle it a little bit until you get those tumblers lined up. And then once you do, you'll be able to open this. I'll show you more about that in a second. So now that we've got this done, you can see that this will just lift off the brackets. Okay. Now, this one I haven't set up yet with a trackball. I've got this one over here that does have a trackball. So I'm just going to set this one aside. And then I'll come back and I'll show you how you open the one with the trackball. So that keyhole that I showed you earlier, down here, Now, this is your lid. This is actually on some tension. There's a spring in there that pushes this out. So when you go to turn the key, I want you to make sure that you put pressure right here, just above the trackball. Okay? It's locked now. Turn the key. Okay? And if you look inside there, kind of film in there, you can see the mechanism that turns this. See those hooks? And then those are linking up with these hooks here, if you were curious. Okay? So make sure you take the key out of the bottom of the cabinet. I've had some people set it down. See what I'm talking about? They'll set it down and the key snaps off inside there. You don't want to do that. But if you do, you can take a glue stick, heat it up and melt it, stick it on there, and it'll pull the broken key out. That was an interesting thing that my wife actually taught me about. So, okay, now that we've got this open, first thing I'm gonna need to do is remove these bolts here. Set those aside, don't lose those, because you will need them. And then this just lifts up. Okay, you see it's got these little tabs here. And then those go into these holes here. So, come around the other side, show them this. So these tabs just pop into this. And because you're gonna need to put that back on, okay? So, I want you to pay attention to this hole, and this hole. Now the next thing we're gonna need to do is you're gonna get your 6-inch long Phillips screwdriver. Now in the confirmation email that I send you, I do let you know that you're gonna need a 1/2-inch socket or a 1/2-inch wrench, open-ended, and a screwdriver that is 6 inches long, okay? So we're gonna come over here. The first thing we're gonna do now is we're gonna remove these brackets, which are put on there for shipping. Don't lose these, you'll need them. All right. So, see these holes here? Here, here, and here? Now if you come over here, these screws are gonna mount into these. So what I usually do is I'll just start them a little bit, not much. Just about like this. Okay, and then we're gonna pick this guy up. Slide those down like that. So do not let go of this while you're doing this. Pull back a little bit. So you can see that I'm holding this. I'm not just releasing this, because until you tighten those screws down, yeah, this thing could fall off. So, all right, so you can see. And if you have any issues sliding these in, you can always just put these in after the fact. Here we go. All right, and so you can see now that those are all in the circle, and I've kind of pulled them forward. So we're just gonna tighten it down. Do not over tighten these. They need to be snug, but not super duper snug. Okay. So these are gonna be marked. Player 1, player 2. This is a light. This thing is a light. Now, I don't like this light on my machine. I don't connect it. To me, it's almost like having really bright lamps next to your TV. But if you want it, it's there, and that's what this smaller cable is for. Now, if you look down inside the cabinet, you're gonna find the corresponding female ends. You get the male end, female end. So you're gonna take 2 to 2, and you can make those click. Because I'm gonna be taking this apart as soon as I'm done with this video. I'm not gonna click them, but you can squeeze those in and they'll click. If you ever need to separate those, you just take a flathead screwdriver, put it in here or put it in there and just gently turn it and these will pop out. Okay. Number 1 goes into number 1. The light goes into the light. Now the last thing you've got, this is your trackball cable, okay? This, you're just gonna fish down in through here. And then you leave this down in here, and this is where your game board's gonna go. I showed you that earlier. Your game board will be plugged in right here, and your trackball cable is gonna be plugged in next to it. If you're curious, this is a setup button. This cabinet is designed to play lots of different JAMA boards. At this time, Pandora DX is the gold standard. It's like the iPhone 13. It's the best and greatest board that's out. But if you wanted to get an older board, or if there's a newer board that comes out, if it doesn't have a setup button, and not all boards do. If you remember, I showed you on this board, this is your setup button. Older boards didn't have that. So we actually hardwired in a setup button for you. That's what that is. That's your power supply. Now here's your stereo amplifier. You've got bass, treble, balance, and it's treble, bass, balance, and your volume control. When you turn this on, this is going to be blinking red and blue. That's normal. That's what you want, okay? Once you've got everything plugged in, next thing you're going to do, you're going to put this guy back on. Using those tabs that I just showed you. Okay, you're going to put those 2 screws back in place. And now you can take the key you can close this up and you're good to go. I usually just leave my key down there. It's easy. Okay, I think that is pretty much everything. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.